Hello and welcome to the Wellness Plus podcast. I'm your host, Karina Rachel, and I'm joined today by Dr. Ashley Maltz. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So you are a medical doctor with an integrative approach. In the previous episode, we were talking a little bit about the differences between the mainstream and integrative approaches and kind of what patients can expect depending on if they were to come to see you. And one of the things that came up was a couple of different supplements that you were mentioning, and I thought that would be a fantastic topic to cover because there are so many different supplements out there now that for people who are health conscious, it can feel really, really overwhelming. So I thought it'd be really interesting for you to kind of share maybe the top 5 that you most commonly end up recommending to your patients.
Awesome. I love this topic because this is day in, day out, what I do pretty much.
Right.
So to start, I guess we could start with magnesium.
Okay.
One of my most favorite and beloved minerals. Magnesium, it comes in many forms, can be used for many things therapeutically. Ultimately, it was supposed to or is supposed to come from our diets. Nuts and chocolate has some magnesium, fish, and all kinds of fruits and vegetables and things that come from the earth have magnesium in them. However, as we discussed in the previous episode, our soil is depleted from over-farming, overworking, and the minerals and nutrients have kind of been taken out, unfortunately, in that process. So we do often need to supplement with magnesium. This is one of my favorite supplements on the planet because it has so many different uses. So I have had patients with chronic pain and fatigue and insomnia and restless legs and Charlie horses and digestive problems all benefit from magnesium.
Wow.
And that is because, first of all, you can use it as a laxative. So in Western allopathic medicine, we prescribe it as magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide as a laxative. So that's milk of magnesia, what you'll get over the counter.
Okay.
If you've been constipated, you can take that. There are other forms like magnesium glycinate or malate or chelated magnesium, where they put something on it to where it binds it and it doesn't get absorbed. It gets absorbed actually into the bloodstream. It doesn't get let out in the bowels.
Okay.
So those are the great ones that are absorbable. They help with anxiety, depression, insomnia, muscle tension or pain, chronic pain.
Right.
Really just kind of ranges the gamut. We need this mineral for almost every cellular reaction that occurs in the body.
Right. Well, it's so interesting because I think about calcium gets a lot of attention. And they're like, oh, well, you need to drink more milk so you can get the calcium. But don't calcium and magnesium kind of work together?
They do. So it's actually, I don't recommend people take what we call exogenous calcium. So calcium in a pill form without magnesium.
Okay.
And vitamin D. Because they're really, what we're finding, and this has just been from, I want to say, more recent research, is that the calcium that we're, supposed to get from our diets also, and not necessarily through dairy, that's one way, but leafy greens have calcium, anything with like bone in it, so fish and, all those bones. You can
or
eat
bone
the
broth, which has become increasingly popular.
Bone marrow in general. My grandmother grew up eating, my mom grew up eating bone marrow, and she still to this day eats it, so it's probably very good for her. Anyway, calcium and magnesium are kind of cofactors, and they need to be absorbed together in order to be utilized correctly. So the exogenous or external calcium that you're getting from a regular calcium supplement is actually not being utilized by the body. And it's instead either staying in your gut, which I've seen x-rays of calcium shows up on x-rays. So bones are made out of calcium, right? So we see bones, and we can see calcium pills deposited in the gut and the stomach. Oh, and we're a little concerned about cardiovascular health now because calcium plaques are made out of calcium as well in the arteries of the heart, and or the blood vessels, to simplify it. And when we're adding this external calcium, it can get deposited in our coronary arteries. So it's we live and we learn. We couldn't have known this previously. It's like anything else, just taking time to figure out all the ins and outs of everything. And
interesting.
Don't go blaming anyone, your doctor or anyone who put you on calcium. They're doing what they thought was best at the time. Now we're going against that. We're telling people to eat their calcium, take their vitamin D. There's also vitamin K that can be helpful for bones, and then also you do need magnesium.
Interesting. So like a calcium magnesium supplement, I see those sometimes. That would be like more beneficial than just calcium.
Right.
So interesting. And then would you say that it's better to have those dietary sources in general rather than an exogenous source or supplement source?
Always. Look, if we could get everything from our diet and do it on a consistent basis, that's the best way to go. Okay. Our body knows what to do with what we put in our body, as food. When we as a society have become very reductionistic in our thinking, like we want one pill or one magical component, or if I do this one thing really well, that's going to solve all my problems. That's actually not how nature works.
Right.
Nature needs lots of different things, and some of these things work, or nutrients work synergistically or together for an added benefit versus like taking one thing, only one thing in max doses, and then you end up with a different problem because every action has an equal and opposite reaction, as our famous scientists have taught us. And the body is no different. Any and everything that you put in your body has a reaction, good or bad. So, or health promoting and health negating. So there's not, for the most part, we want to go towards health promoting, obviously, but nobody's perfect, and no one is expected to be perfect. So we do try to get a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and legumes and seeds and nuts. So the way I think of fruits and vegetables and all of these things are as carriers of these vital nutrients. They're like nutrient bombs. Go off, and then they kill the bad cells and the invaders, and they help with all the reactions going on in the body on an infinite basis all the time. And so that's why we need them, and we should all eat them.
Yeah. And, you mentioned chocolate in there. That was one of those things that when I learned that raw cacao, and I think, I could be wrong about this, but it's one of the top dietary sources of magnesium. And I was like, whoa, as if I needed more excuses to eat chocolate. Do you think that the magnesium content of chocolate is going to vary between like eating the raw cacao nibs where they're like minimally processed versus if you're just eating a chocolate bar? Are you getting some magnesium?
I mean, anything that comes from in the whole form is better than a processed form. And that's just when the whole point of processing is stripping things down so that it's more shelf stable.
Right.
And that's why we process food. It's not because we think it's going to be healthful and great for us. It's about keeping things on the shelf longer. They won't go bad, and then people can sell them more and make more money. That's the bottom line.
But they're not processed to make them healthier for people.
No. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Actually, the reactions that occur in the processing strip away a lot of the beneficial. Like, for example, bread, right? So you have the regular old bread that used to take hours to make, and there were whole seeds and, not broken down very much for people. Your body still had to do a lot of work now. Sliced white bread came along. It cut out all of the fiber and the nutrients of the germ, the wheat germ, and all of the good, healthy nutrient stuff. And that's where, so it can stay on the shelf for, I don't know, how long does white bread last now? I don't know.
A long time.
A long time. I don't eat it, so I don't know. But
right.
You have to, we all have to go back and think about, why is this here? How did this get here? Who's making my food? Where are the seeds coming from? What's the soil like? Because without healthy soil and seeds and water and sunshine, healthy water and sunshine and air, nothing will grow.
Right.
We need all of those components. So it's about just kind of getting more connected with humanity and what we're made of.
Right.
So
right.
How we feed it too.
And it sounds like just getting back to basics or whatever, things that are more natural, so less processing, less chemicals. We're actually going to get more of the benefits.
Right. Yes.
So what would be the next supplement?
So along those lines, I would say that everyone needs to be on a whole foods-based multivitamin.
Okay.
That is because we are not getting the 12 servings of vegetables and fruits in our diet every day.
12 servings of fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, that is what's,
wow.
5 to 7 is good, but we really need to be aiming for optimal function of 10 to 12 at least.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then even if we are getting all those servings of vegetables, again, the soil that it's been grown in is not ideal and optimal for vibrant health. It's good. It's mediocre, maybe. Who knows? I don't personally go out and sample soil, so I have no idea. But I do know that studies are showing that we're not getting our nutrients from how we used to.
Right.
And so, therefore, this kind of just fills in the gaps.
Okay.
So, like a whole foods multivitamin with selenium for thyroid health, along with iodine a little bit for thyroid health, and likely we'll have some magnesium in it and some other nutrients from the earth. We need more earth.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic. But,
right.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at a supplement in the grocery store, and probably maybe the most popular one are those like Centrum brand supplements. Is that a good multivitamin or?
It's not what I would choose. It's not what I would put my dad on personally. Like I mentioned, whole foods. So really what you want to look for is they have like fruits and vegetables on the label.
Yeah.
It's made, the ingredients say like 50 or 60 different plants and not chemicals.
Right.
Because the synthetic vitamins, and that's what a lot of the studies are based off of that we hear about in mainstream media, we don't know. And some of them can have actually bad effects.
Right.
Because we really it's that reductionistic mentality of isolate the one molecule that's going to make us all healthy and vibrant and happy and forever.
Yeah.
And it's just not how nature works. Nature needs different structures of the molecules. So if you think about vitamin A or E, mostly vitamin E, there are multiple different types.
Right.
And you don't want to take just one. If you take just one, you can get into trouble. Because the body needs diversity. It gets a little bit of everything from multiple.
Right.
They work synergistically.
Right.
As opposed to just one working.
And I think that's an interesting comment on, I mean, I guess it's really the scientific method, so to speak, is all about isolating something down, try to get rid of those confounding factors and really try to get this like one isolated look at something. But like you're saying, it really disregards the fact that, you know, once something enters your body, it's not acting alone. It's acting in the context of all the other foods you're eating. And it's really interesting hearing you talk about, you know, like calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K and these other things that all rely on each other. And it really does just, you know, to me, I just feel like, wow, so it really is just easier. Try and eat a lot of different healthy foods and have a varied diet rather than going like, okay, I got to get my vitamin K and my vitamin, because it can be a lot of supplements.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people, you know, come in with a lot of different things they're taking. And it can get pretty overwhelming. But, you know, suffice it to say that if we just give our body a wide variety of different nutrients, ideally from healthy organic foods as much as possible, then we're going to hopefully cover all of those bases as opposed to just trying to pick out one thing and then really like overdosing ourselves on that one vitamin or supplement.
Which is what we tend to do in America, and the Western mentality. We just want to, I don't know what it is, we're like extreme about everything. I really long for like us to live in, you know, like the Italians and the Spaniards, they take time at their meals and they have time after their meals to sleep, you know, siesta, and you know, Latin American countries as well. And it's just so interesting how we've gone from this leisurely integrating your nutrients and letting your body do its work kind of mentality to here where we're just all the time eating at our computers and talking and stress and, you know, running from one thing to the next.
And no one has time to do the healthy things.
Exactly.
No one has time to get more sleep.
Right. And it just, it frustrates me. But I also, it's our culture. It's our reality.
Right. All right. So a good whole foods-based multivitamin.
Yes.
What would be the third?
The third would be, and this is somewhat of a big topic and sort of controversial, probiotics
Okay.
of some sort. I can't tell you, you must take this one or that one, or, you know, I like a blend. It kind of goes with the whole foods and synergistic mentality. If you have a healthy gut, it's going to go a long way. So really focusing on a blend of various probiotics. You can even switch them out every 3 months or so. Taking it in at nighttime mostly to kind of inoculate your gut with just like a planting of a seed. And, you know, there is controversy about whether or not those probiotics actually make it into anywhere past the stomach because of the stomach acid. It can kill a lot. So that's where the controversy lies. I don't have all the answers for that, but I would say that I've had lots and lots of patients do pretty well and have significant improvement in their symptoms with just, you know, supplementing with probiotics. My favorite probiotic, and this may not work for everyone, if you have mold toxicity or yeast overgrowth, things like that, I would not recommend this for you because it is a healthy yeast called S. boulardii or Saccharomyces boulardii.
Okay.
I love it because it is not destroyed by antibiotics,
Okay.
which is in a lot of the factory farm meat and poultry and, you know, probably everything.
Not to mention every single soap that we use now has those antibacterial chemicals in it.
Well, that's getting phased out eventually because the FDA found that there is toxicity associated with those. So that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a newer finding. But I would say, so this healthy yeast is resistant to antibiotics because antibiotics only act on bacteria. So when we're taking, I recommend this anytime I prescribe antibiotics, and that it happens. I try to help naturally, but things don't always go that way. So you take it twice a day, and I always recommend maybe an extra dose if you're on antibiotics, 4 hours after each dose. I don't know. Again, I don't know what's actually getting into the gut, but this helps prevent other worse infections from coming up from the antibiotics. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So I'm a big, big fan of S. boulardii. Some hospitals now carry it and give it when they give antibiotics. So that's exciting.
Definitely.
Because with antibiotic use, unfortunately, the antibiotics don't know which bacteria to target. They just kill all bacteria. So you've got beneficial bacteria, you've got less beneficial bacteria, or could be pathogenic, meaning could be pathologic and create disease bacteria, and it just wipes everything out. So replenishing with really healthy beneficial yeast or beneficial probiotics is the way to go. That also being said, you can get a lot of this from food, with fermented foods, kombucha, things like that. You gotta watch out for sugar, and if you're dairy intolerant, that's also can be an issue.
Interesting.
So kimchi, sauerkraut, all those things that have been used for eternity. And yet we think we're so smart. We don't need those things anymore.
Right.
Not true.
That's interesting too. And as I, have kind of just been looking at the grocery store shelves over the years, you do see more sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt, things like that are really accentuating that they do contain those active probiotics or live probiotics or whatever. I do think it's worth, mentioning that unfortunately most of the commercial brands of yogurt, either because of the excess sugar or colors or whatever, do you still get good probiotics from?
I think there is some, and it just depends on the brand and how their manufacturing processes go. I don't know. I'm not doing the studies myself.
Right.
If that's all you can find and that's all you can do, then do it. But if you can opt for better options, I would definitely avoid any sugar in your yogurt. So most yogurts on the shelf that have flavorings, you do not want those that have 15 grams of sugar, which is
in a little tiny cup of yogurt.
And it tastes great.
Well, because it's pure sugar.
But it's not helpful for your gut. You want Greek yogurt, which has been cultured, and it's just it has no added sugar. Dairy, lactose in and of itself is a sugar, so the molecule is a sugar. So you are getting some sugar, but it's kind of on the lower end as far as it's not added processed sugar. And then I always recommend like a goat or sheep milk dairy for those who are doing elimination diets or just having gut dysfunction. They get a lot of gas and bloating or constipation and things like that, or skin issues. If you're going to go that route, that's what I always recommend. It's less inflammatory on the gut.
Interesting. Yeah, and I see a lot of the goat's milk cheeses and everything. They taste delicious. So I'm like, wow.
It's a little getting used to it. If you're not used to goat or sheep, it's a little more gamey, I guess, or earthy. But once you're used to it, it's delicious.
Yeah.
And again, don't get the ones with added sugar. So stick with, the marketing people and the food industry, they want you to buy everything and, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love trying new things and new products, and I'm really excited. But stick to the basics. Add your own fruit if you need something to spice it up or sweeten it. And add nuts or seeds, a little dark chocolate if you want to make it a dessert. So don't go crazy with anything.
Right. Yeah. And I think that recommendation of using fruit to sweeten your yogurt or whatever else is just so.
Make it flavorful.
Right. And it's so funny. I actually hear so many people that say oh, I can't eat fruit. It has too much sugar, as they're drinking a Coke. And I'm like, wait a second. That's a big disconnect. So, maybe that's another topic for another talk even is about fruit. But it's just such an interesting thing that people don't, they just see it for the sugar. And I'm like, yeah, but you're getting some sugar and all of this other amazing healthful stuff.
Yes. I take issue with when people vilify fruits and vegetables. Yes, there are some people who can't break down the fructose or on the FODMAPs diet, they get extreme bloating and indigestion from broccoli and cauliflower and, Brussels sprouts. But for the most part, it's really because of what you've done to your gut that you're not able to process those things. So if you can heal and repair the gut, then, I just really, you can't go wrong with fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
My emphasis is generally more on the veggies, a little bit of fruit.
Right.
Because as Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens, that was funny, we did not eat a lot of sugars.
Right.
At all. We were out hunting and gathering. We just had berries, but we didn't have constant access to sugar and carbohydrates.
Right.
We had to grow them, or that came a little bit later.
Right.
So it's you want to go as natural as possible. Hard to do in today's society.
Right.
But that's the ideal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So we did magnesium, whole foods, multivitamin, probiotics. What would be next?
Number 4. So this is my favorite herb on the planet. It is turmeric or curcuma, and it is extremely anti-inflammatory and has been used traditionally in India and Eastern cultures for eons. You can use it, you can eat it, which is what they do. You can use it topically. You can that's usually how you can take it in a capsule. And for the most part, they're actually studying it for Alzheimer's prevention in India.
Wow.
Because they know and notice that their incidences, their disease burden from Alzheimer's is much lower than anywhere else in the world. So
wow.
And it's eaten with almost every meal. It's the yellow stuff. It makes curry yellow or garam masala.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I don't really know that much about Indian cooking, but it's delicious.
Yeah, it is.
You get these nutrients. So curcuma longa rhizome is the scientific name. You want to take at least about 500 milligrams twice a day for therapeutic benefit. We're talking, this is outside of food. This is like you have an inflammatory condition or pain or something going on. And you also want to make sure it has bioperine or black pepper. So this is where that food synergy comes in. They make the food with the turmeric and black pepper and probably a bunch of other ingredients that helps the absorption of the turmeric.
Wow.
Nature is so smart. And fortunately, someone was able to figure that out. But if you're buying it on the shelf in a capsule form, which is how I take it, because I don't know how to cook Indian food well enough. I have some. I do some, but I really want more. You want to make sure it has black pepper or bioperine. That's the scientific name for black pepper. Okay, so the other thing you want to do is cook it with a fat of some sort. So in India, they make ghee, which is the cultured butter. They'll put turmeric and maybe some ginger and cinnamon and just yummy stuff. Mix it together and you drink it. And we call that golden milk here.
And I see that at the juice bars now.
Yeah, it's delicious. You should try it.
I did. You know what? They made a juice with, so it had the golden paste, and then it had, I don't don't know, like honey and maybe cayenne and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff in it, but it was really good.
Yeah. It's like a curry in your mouth. Or
Yeah. So I do a lot of times I'll do like a coconut milk soup and just add like all the different spices to it and turmeric and all this. Well, just kind of make it up off the top of my head, but but yeah, so that's interesting. So having the turmeric with a fat, that's a good tip.
Black pepper
Okay.
for cooking, and then the black pepper for ingesting. You can also, take it with a spoonful of coconut oil or something, or
interesting.
if you're into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love it for skin conditions, or there are people making turmeric peel masks. And you can, there's one company, another physician friend of mine started, he is now making soaps and turmeric mask.
Wow.
So it includes those topically, so you can shine from the outside in or inside out, and both, do both.
Very cool.
So, yeah, there's a lot of benefit.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So you mentioned it's a really strong anti-inflammatory. So people with inflammatory conditions. But I think sometimes people are like, I don't know if my condition's inflammatory. Is it true that when the condition ends with ITIS, that's like a good, like I've kind of used that as a signal that like, oh yeah, that's inflammatory. So arthritis, ulcerative colitis, there's a lot of itises. Gingivitis. Interesting.
It's just a fun word. But gingivitis, vaginitis. There's so many different.
Right.
Cholecystitis, which is your gallbladder, making gallstones.
Oh, wow.
Inflammation of the gallbladder, actually, sorry.
Interesting. So gallstones. Take a turmeric.
I mean, I don't want to extrapolate to that. I don't have evidence to say anything about specific conditions, but I use it mostly for chronic pain and lots of digestive issues, skin conditions, things like that. So, itching and rash type stuff.
Right.
But also, I personally take it for prevention. I take it because I don't want to
end up with those things down the road.
Yes. So, and I take all of these things for prevention. So who knows if it'll help me, but I really hope it does.
And you seem very healthy,
Well,
so I would
thank
say
you.
that it's working at least as much as we can tell.
Yes. Well, I also get lots of sleep and have loving, healthful relationships and spend lots of time in nature when I can, and eat pretty well for the most part.
Yeah.
Chocolate addiction, but it's not an addiction, but
I think all of us
eat
do.
a lot of chocolate. And I like to think of that because I'm magnesium deficient, so I need magnesium every day, and I do take supplementation as well. The last lovely supplement that I want to discuss is fish oil, or omega-3s.
Okay.
These can come in different varieties. The omegas, there are multiple different types of omegas, so we do need a healthy balance of all of them. The ones that get a bad rap are omega-6s. We think of those as in processed foods, more inflammatory type foods. But the omega-9s are kind of their cousin, and omega-3s are their cousin, but they're beneficial. So we need a healthy balance. I really like the omega-3s that you can get them from plants. So seeds, chia seeds, nuts, avocado,
Flax seeds.
Yes, all of those. Then those are not they're not converted as well in the body as efficiently as would be like straight cod liver oil or krill oil or fish oil. But they are still good. Algae is another example of omega-3s.
Okay.
So, it's about balance and trying to get all those things in your diet. Eating the fish. You want a good selection of fish from a hopefully non-polluted part of the earth. Right. There's so many challenges now to being human, but we do our best, and I choose Pacific, wild Atlantic salmon, sorry, not Pacific. Hopefully from as north as possible. And yeah, you just do your best.
And I see a lot of different fish oil supplements out there.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give us some little outlines on what to look for? You know, I see fish oil at, Walmart and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're just taking a fish oil supplement from your grocery store or something, is that?
I wouldn't choose that for myself. I think quality is extremely important, especially with these types of things. You want a brand that's been third-party tested for heavy metals, and you want it to taste good and feel good in your body, kind of light, and it can, like, I think of it as oil to lubricate our joints and our gut and just our eyes. People with dry eyes, it can potentially help there, dry mouth. So I will say Costco carries a pretty good brand called Kirkland's Best.
Okay.
And that has been tested for heavy metals, and so that's why I recommend it. That being said, they may change their manufacturing. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of transparency there, which is one of the problems in the supplement industry. But I think it's going to be coming. I really like a brand called Nordic Naturals because I know they're, keeping the top high quality standards. So there are lots of great brands. Orthomolecular is a great brand, and Integrative Therapeutics, and everybody has their own line. But Nordic Naturals you can get in the grocery store, like Whole Foods or Central Market, those kinds of places. Sprouts. So, and they have pretty high standards for what they put on their shelves in terms of supplements. So that's kind of where I gauge.
Yeah.
As far as the the herbs that I recommend, I really like a brand called Nature's Way.
Yeah.
And that they're also I think they're a good budget point. They're, easy to find. They're kind of in every health food store in the U.S.
Yeah.
And they have green and purple bottles. The purple bottles have been clinically tested in that dose, in that form.
Okay.
And I just say, okay, go get the purple top curcumin, or go get the purple top ginger, or peppermint, or whatever I'm prescribing.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I love that too, because when you really are standing there in the store and you're looking at like 80 million different things.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah. And it's
Even
one
for
of
me.
those.
I mean, I'm highly educated in this stuff, and I still walk in and I'm just like, eeny, meeny, miny, okay.
Yeah. But realistically speaking, I hear so many people that say, oh, I started taking this or started eating this and it just tastes like dirt. And I'm like, well, actually the dirt has a lot of nutrients in it.
That's actually
and we talked a little bit about soil depletion and how, I think that could probably even be a whole other topic, all of the different factors that have just kind of stripped all of those healthy nutrients and minerals out of the soil. And, the whole reason that we want to eat vegetables is getting those nutrients from the soil. So it's an important concept. Organic vegetables, is this other kind of big point. And, I definitely try to tell people that, hey, if you can't afford the organic, totally fine. Better for you to eat a non-organic vegetable than no vegetable at all.
You're still going to get the fiber. You're still going to get a lot of the nutrients in there. It's just not going to be, you may get a little added chemical.
Right.
And a little less nutrients. But it's still much better than a candy bar or French fries.
Yeah.
Corn and potatoes do not count. I mean, they're from the earth, but they don't really count in some potatoes. If you have the skin of the potato, that's really where the nutrients are. So, or the most of it. And the corn, when I ask teenagers if they eat vegetables, can I eat corn? No. That's a starch. It's actually a simple sugar at this point. What we've dialed it down to, genetically modified it down to. So, no corn. A little bit of corn here and there.
Right.
Corn tortillas or corn chips, but not you're not getting that same nutrient profile that you would have 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
With really beautiful, different colored corn and
Right.
diverse crops.
Right. And I just think, it is definitely in Austin, we've got a lot of organic farming and farmers markets. And I feel very, very fortunate that we have access to healthy organic veggies and everything. But I also know that, realistically speaking, am I eating my 12 servings a day of fruits and vegetables? Not every day, maybe every once in a while. So having that, Whole Foods multivitamin to kind of come in and hopefully fill in the blanks. And that's something I've been doing for a long time. So
Good.
So, we kind of talked about like maybe the top 5 big, most common things that you recommend. What would be some other guidelines for people to know, what supplements are right for them or how to figure out what supplements they should take?
So I always recommend working with a clinician that is, kind of schooled in this information and can really individualize it for everyone. I don't think everyone needs to be on everything. And again, it comes down to a big bag of, or lots of big tablets. Some of these are really big. Magnesium can be really big in terms of the actual tablet.
Right.
Fish oils, they come in big things. And sometimes other, the multivitamin can be big. And so, you create problems when you're just constantly taking in these, lots of supplements. So I think working with a skilled practitioner, be it a physician or a nurse practitioner, PA, alternative health professional, health coach, nutritionist, a lot of them can advise in these supplements. And but I really do think everything kind of still boils back down to proper sleep, proper digestion, proper healthy habits and healthy moods, healthy relationships, having a purpose in life and not just working for the money. I mean, if that's your purpose, great. But if that's what gets you up and motivated every day, great. But oftentimes that'll wear off after a while. So having something bigger that you're working towards, maybe it's providing for your family, whatever it is, whatever is your purpose, great. That's super important. And then just eating the rainbow, as I say, but not Skittles.
Taste the rainbow, but not that rainbow.
Exactly. Be really healthy, diverse plant vegetables.
The rainbow that doesn't contain a bunch of artificial colors.
Exactly. And sugar. So, good marketing they've done. So the fact that I have to correct that and make it a thing means that it's pretty well known. So yeah, that's what it really kind of getting movement every day. And having, potentially a spiritual practice or at least calming the mind in some way, meditation, journaling, yoga, whatever it is. So all of these things that play a huge role in our lives. It's not just about take these 5 supplements and you'll be great. That's not life. That's healthy and helpful, but it's not necessarily going to get you, living till 100. And there are studies on these places where there are mostly octogenarians, so 80 and up. They're called blue zones. I don't know if you've heard of them. I think he's a photojournalist. He went around the world. His name's Dan Buettner, and studied these populations. And now he's written a book about it. He speaks about it, and it's research has been done on these places of that have a high concentration of these octogenarians and up. So and centenarians. So Greece, like Icara, Greece, an island, and one, I can't remember exactly. In Japan, there's a place, Loma Linda, California.
Interesting.
Well, they're Seventh-day Adventists. They have a huge community there. That's where their headquarters are. So they don't drink alcohol, they don't smoke, They are plant-based in their diet, and they have a very strong spiritual and community practice. They're like, group.
Mm-hmm.
There are places all over the world. Somewhere I want to say in South America, but I'm blanking. So there's, maybe Sicily or somewhere, Italy. So rather than, I would love to go and live in these places, but we have to extrapolate and bring that information and spread it to the world and make everywhere a blues zone because, we want to live.
Yeah.
And they live well in their 80s and 90s and 100s. They're not just like in nursing homes and, on 20 medications. They're like active and living life.
Wow.
With passion and gusto. And that's really what life is about. It's not about, prolonging the inevitable.
Mm-hmm. Just barely making it through the day or whatever.
And just, tolerating life.
So it's interesting that you mentioned Greece because we hear a lot about the Mediterranean diet. Yeah. So would you say that is maybe evidence towards the healthful aspects of that diet?
One of my favorite diets on the planet. In terms of evidence, you can't really beat it. Yes, plant-based diets are great. Yes, we have not yet seen, I've seen some research on ketogenic diets and maybe paleo diets, but the Mediterranean diet kind of incorporates all of that into a sustainable way of living. And it's not just the food. That's what you have to keep in mind. Like the blue zones, it's the community aspects. So bringing in, they had ceremonial, religious days, fasting for those days, dancing, moving, they're outdoors farming, they're doing things all day. It's not just
20 minutes of physical exercise and the rest is sedentary.
Right. We've got to switch. We've got to just change our mindset in that way. If you can walk somewhere, walk, or ride your bike, that's beneficial. Even if it's 10 minutes one way, or two ways. Little bouts throughout the day are really where the bang for the buck comes in.
Interesting. I think that's so... Not only does that make it so much easier, rather than being like, I have to set aside an hour every day to exercise, you're saying, hey, no, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 or 6 times a day.
Yeah.
And now you've got your hour of physical exercise. And that's just so much more, I feel, realistic for people. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to, I put on music and dance often in my apartment, or I'll do yoga for 10 minutes. Whatever floats my boat at that moment. I also think we also need to get back into nature more and get away from the cities and all the Wi-Fi and the technology and the buzz and the people. It's not helpful. So, I realize it's necessary at this point. We've created societies around it, but it's all about balance.
Right.
So for a weekend day, you go out and to swim in water that's, natural. It's really helpful.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you say that because that's one of my favorite things to do.
Where do you like to go?
I can't reveal my favorite spots in Austin. They'll get overcrowded. Well, there's already too many. Of course, Barton Springs is probably my favorite. And I love that there's the little kind of free area on the other side. We can take your dogs. We'll take our dogs with us swimming and just, I definitely can feel how different I feel. Those days that I'm out and I'm hiking and I'm outdoors and, compared to the days where I'm inside and I'm around a lot of cell phones, a lot of computers, a lot of bright lights. So I think it's just, one of those things that we, maybe just need to be given the prescription in a way, hey, we're going to give you a prescription for maybe these supplements or whatever. And I say this to my health coaching clients a lot. Okay, but I'm going to give you a prescription to do 30 minutes a day of just something relaxing for you, whatever it is that makes you laugh and have fun and not feel stressed out. That's what you got to do, but you have to make the time for it. And then especially right before bedtime, we kind of touched on this in a previous episode, that a lot of us us are going 100 miles an hour, like right up to the point that we're trying to go to sleep.
Right.
And we're watching the news and we're scrolling through social media. And so it's just kind of
Yeah.
interesting how, not only are we feeling more stressed out by all these things, but then it's actually like affecting our quality of sleep, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So that brings up some great points. So also these octogenarians, they, from interviews, they go to bed early when the sun goes down. They wake up early when the sun comes up. That's the natural cycle of how humans have evolved. We need nature. We need the sun. We need the moon to tell us when to be up and when to go to bed. And there's so many processes, hormonal processes happening in our brain and in our body that reflect that. So, staying up late, burning the midnight oil, great for your productivity. Is it great for your brain and your nervous system and your gut microbiome? Probably not. And the way you feel the next day. So I always tell my patients, please just turn off the TV. Don't even turn it on. If you can, there's a time and a place. Great. If you really feel like you need to veg and zone out and watch something funny, great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not right before bed when you're having that bright light, blue light on you, and it stimulates your brain and it decreases your melatonin production, and then you can't fall asleep all night. And then you wake up the next day and your cortisol's really high and you can't focus and you're all out of sorts. It's not beneficial.
Right.
So melatonin supplementation is another, it's along the lines of this topic.
Yeah.
I always recommend starting really low because some people can stay groggy the next day.
Okay.
So I call it the melatonin hangover. And some people can have really vivid, not pleasant dreams. So you have to watch for that.
And I think maybe that's even a good recommendation for a lot of different supplements is that you kind of work your way up to the dosage rather than just, again, in our culture, we've got this like more is better, do the most, do it all right now. And sometimes with our bodies, I think that like slowly introducing something new and slowly weaning off of the things that are bad for us.
Exactly.
Is just a good approach rather than the like.
I'll give you an example of one thing that I weaned myself off of successfully and have stayed off of for at least 7 years now is diet soda. I was a diet soda addict in high school, college, medical school. I kicked it. I switched to coffee in residency because that caffeine. I was drinking it for caffeine. My colleagues, my co-peers were drinking coffee, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to be addicted to coffee. I don't know where that came from, but anyway, I switched to coffee in residency. But the reason I did that, more than just the caffeine content, is that my digestion started to suffer from diet soda, just any soda. I could not. It was actually giving me abdominal pain and kind of these weird gurgling noises coming through and when I was interacting with patients. And so I just slowly, and it was not easy. I was addicted to the taste. It staved off hunger. That's why I started drinking it back in high school.
Right.
And, and the caffeine and just the whole ritual, you hear that cracking open of the can, and it just, you get excited, that's, I just slowly had to wean myself off. And I've been diet soda free. I mean, if it's around, I'll have a little bit, maybe here and there, just to...
For old time's sake.
But I don't crave it. I don't care anymore about it.
Right.
I don't waste my money and my time on it. My microbiome is much healthier.
Yeah.
With all those toxic chemicals. So
interesting.
yeah.
Well, I think they actually add more caffeine to the diet versions. Is something that I read once, and it's part of the reason that people get so addicted to the diet sodas or whatever. They just sort of like, oh, well, they're going to need a little bit more push to get addicted to this, so we'll just add more caffeine to it. But yeah, and then interestingly, the aspartame artificial sweeteners, this was a couple years ago, I think, the statistic, but it was like the most complaints on any food chemical or food ingredient to FDA.gov, where people can go and file the negative reactions they have to foods. Aspartame had the most. Well, only took a couple of years for them to realize that people were getting wise to aspartame. Well, what did they do? Just start using a different artificial sweetener with a name people don't recognize.
Right.
So now it's acesulfame potassium and sucralose, which looks just like sucrose. But I always have to tell people, like, no, the sucralose, you got to look out for it. And, you know, maybe another great topic, diet sodas. I mean, something that it just breaks my heart, you know, these things that are marketed to people to try and be healthier,
Right.
you know, like bless your heart for wanting to try and be healthier, and just you can't trust a lot of these like big name brands and corporations to actually be making something healthier. Like they're probably just making their product and marketing it to you to try and make you think it's healthier. So it's just kind of a really common thing that I see, though. And I know a lot of people are drinking sodas and diet sodas. And luckily, there are some pretty good, you know, natural alternatives for those things now, like stevia sweetened drinks, or, you know, just flavor. Yeah. Yeah. And
LaCroix, people are obsessed with LaCroix.
yeah.
Topo Chico.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Austin, those are everywhere. But yeah, I actually weaned myself off of all carbonation, so I can't.
Wow.
Because of my digestion. So no beer. That, you know, if I did develop I like beer. It's yummy. But don't drink beer. Don't drink mineral water like that because it doesn't sit right. But
interesting.
yeah, so change can happen. I never, ever, ever thought I would give up Diet Pepsi. Was my favorite. And we're not getting any like commercial payment for these things, just so you know. But or at least I'm not.
I bet you anything all of those Coca-Cola and Pepsi companies would rather see us completely disappear than
But yeah, so change can happen, and you know, it does take time and effort and persistence, but it is a possibility.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing your time with us. And I just really look forward to having you on the program again.
Thank you. It's been great.
Great. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to the Wellness Plus podcast. You can find video versions of these podcasts on wellnessplus.tv. And you can learn more about Dr. Ashley Maltz at ashleymaltzmd.com. So I want to thank you for being here, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon.